It is 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. You are lying in bed, the blue light of your phone illuminating your face in the dark. You are physically exhausted, your body feels heavy, and your eyes are dry, yet your mind is racing. You scroll through Instagram, then switch to TikTok, then check your email one last time, looking for a dopamine hit that never comes. You try to recall what you actually did today. You know you were busy. You know you answered Slack messages, you sat in Zoom meetings that could have been emails, and you ran errands. But as you stare at the ceiling, a hollow feeling settles in your chest. You realize that despite the hustle, despite the movement, you did not actually do anything meaningful. You did not read that book you bought 3 months ago. You did not work on your portfolio. You did not learn that new language. You just survived the day, reacting to everyone else's demands, and now the day is gone, slipped through your fingers like sand. This feeling is not a personal failure. It is a symptom of the modern condition. We are drowning in the shallows of busy work, mistaking motion for progress. We beat ourselves up, thinking we just need more discipline, or a better planner, or to wake up at 5 a.m. But what if the problem is not your lack of effort? What if the problem is the design of modern life itself? Today, I want to talk about a philosophy that shifted my entire perspective on how we spend our hours. It comes from the book Make Time by Knapp and Zeratsky. These are not your typical self-help gurus preaching from a mountain. These are two guys from the tech world, former design partners at Google Ventures. Jake helped build Gmail, and John worked on YouTube. They are the architects of the very systems that steal our attention, and because they built the trap, they know exactly how to dismantle it. The title of the book, Make Time, is a specific choice of words. It is not find time or save time or manage time. You cannot manage time. The clock ticks at the same speed for everyone. But you can create space. The core thesis is that we are caught between two powerful forces, the busy bandwagon and the infinity pools. The busy bandwagon is that culture of constant connectivity, the idea that if you are not overworked, you are not important. The infinity pools are the apps and services with bottomless content, Facebook, Netflix, the 24-hour news cycle that devour every scrap of free time we have. Jake shares a story in the book that really struck a nerve with me. He was playing with his kids on the floor one evening, building a train set. It should have been a beautiful memory. But instead of being present, he was clutching his iPhone, refreshing his email, stressed about a work project. His son looked at him and asked, "Dad, why are you looking at your phone?" That question hit him like a freight train. He realized he was physically there but mentally absent. He had optimized his life for maximum productivity, clearing his inbox, staying on top of tasks, but he had optimized the joy right out of his existence. He realized that productivity is a trap. Productivity often just means you are getting faster at doing things that other people want you to do. So, how do we break free? How do we reclaim our agency? Jake and John propose a 4-step framework designed to be repeated every single day. It is not about doing more. It is about doing the right things. The 4 steps are highlight, laser, energize, and reflect. Let us walk through the first and perhaps the most critical step right now. Step 1 is called the highlight. Most of us start our day by looking at a to-do list that is a mile long. We try to power through it, crossing off item after item, hoping to reach the bottom. But the bottom never comes. The highlight method asks you to flip the script. Instead of asking, "What do I have to do today?" you ask yourself, What is the one thing I want to remember about today? This is your highlight. It is the single activity that you prioritize above everything else. It is the center of gravity for your day. If you get nothing else done, but you nailed your highlight, the day was a success. This stops the drift. It gives you a North Star. Now, choosing a highlight can be tricky because our brains are wired to prioritize urgency. The authors suggest 3 criteria to help you choose. First, is it urgent? Sometimes your highlight has to be a deadline. Maybe you have a final paper due or a presentation for a client. If the house is on fire, putting it out is your highlight. That is okay. Second, is it satisfying? This is the sweet spot. This is the deep work. Maybe it is writing 1,500 words for your novel. Maybe it is finally organizing your garage. Maybe it is coding a new feature for your app. It is not necessarily urgent, but finishing it will give you a profound sense of accomplishment. Third, and this is the one we often neglect, does it bring you joy? Your highlight does not have to be productive in the capitalist sense. Your highlight for Saturday could be bake a complicated chocolate cake or go for a long hike with no phone. It could be play video games for 2 hours with my best friend. By making joy your priority, you are validating your own happiness as a worthy use of time. Imagine the difference this makes. Instead of looking back on your week and seeing a blur of emails and errands, you look back and see 7 distinct highlights. You see a week where you wrote a chapter, fixed the sink, had a deep conversation with your partner, and learned to cook a new dish. You are building a life, not just processing a queue. But here is the reality check. Setting a highlight is the easy part. Defending it is where the war is fought. The moment you decide on your highlight, the world will try to steal it from you. Your boss will message you on Slack. Your friends will tag you in memes. The algorithm will try to seduce you. This brings us to the concept of the shutout. You have to treat your highlight like a sacred appointment. If you were meeting the president or your favorite celebrity, you would not answer a random phone call in the middle of it. Why do you treat your own dreams with less respect than a stranger's email? If your highlight is to write in the morning, do not open your email until 10 a.m. If your highlight is to spend quality time with your family in the evening, leave your phone in the other room. You have to be willing to be a little bit unresponsive. You have to be okay with not being the person who replies instantly. In a culture that demands instant gratification, being unavailable is a rebellious act. It is a declaration that your time belongs to you. So you have chosen your highlight. You have identified that one singular thing that will make today meaningful, whether it is writing a chapter of your screenplay or simply cooking a meal from scratch. But now comes the hard part. Now you actually have to do it. And this brings us to step 2 of the framework, laser. We all know this feeling. You sit down to work on your passion project. You are motivated. You open your laptop, but then a notification dings. Or maybe you just feel a phantom vibration in your pocket. You pick up your phone just to check the weather, and suddenly 45 minutes have vanished. You are deep in a Reddit thread about conspiracy theories or watching TikToks about cleaning hacks. The time is gone, and that motivation has evaporated into a cloud of brain fog. Jake and John call this state of distraction the infinity pools. These are the apps and services with an endless supply of content. If you pull to refresh, there is always something new. It is designed that way. And this is the critical realization you need to have. It is not your fault. You are not lazy, and you are not broken. You are simply outgunned. You are entering a boxing ring where your opponent is a team of the smartest engineers, statisticians, and designers at Google, Facebook, and Netflix. Their entire job, their limitation-free budget, is dedicated to one goal: hacking your psychology to keep your eyes glued to the screen. Relying on willpower to fight them is like trying to stop a tidal wave with an umbrella. You cannot win a fair fight against the algorithm. So the make time philosophy suggests a different approach. Do not fight fair. Cheat. To get into laser mode, that state of flow where the rest of the world melts away, you have to create barriers. You have to introduce friction. In the design world, friction is usually bad. You want things to be easy, but when it comes to your attention, friction is your best friend. The authors suggest a radical, terrifying step. Delete the apps. I know, I can feel your panic rising. Delete Instagram. Delete Twitter. How will I know what is happening in the world? But ask yourself, do you need to know what is happening in the world right this second? Or can it wait until you are sitting at your desktop computer later tonight? By removing the infinity pools from your pocket, you transform your smartphone from a slot machine back into a tool. You make the act of checking social media a deliberate choice, not an automatic twitch. If deleting them feels too extreme, try logging out after every session. That extra 10 seconds it takes to type in your password might be just enough time for your prefrontal cortex to kick in and ask, do I really want to do this right now? The authors share a personal strategy that I have adopted, and it is a game changer. They separate their devices by function. One device is for creation, another is for consumption. For example, your laptop is for work and writing only. No Netflix, no YouTube. Your iPad or your television is for entertainment. When you are on the laptop, your brain knows it is time to focus. When you're on the couch with the iPad, you can guilt-free binge-watch whatever you want. By creating physical boundaries, you create mental boundaries. You are essentially hiding from the monsters rather than trying to fight them with a stick. But even if you have the perfect highlight and you have blocked every distraction, you still cannot function if your biological battery is empty. You cannot run a high-performance application on a computer with a dying processor. This leads us to step 3, energize. We tend to think of our brains as separate from our bodies, like a driver sitting in a car. We think we can fuel the brain with coffee and deadline stress while ignoring the vehicle itself. But the brain is part of the body. If your body is sluggish, your mind will be sluggish. The authors of Make Time argue that we need to stop treating ourselves like robots and start treating ourselves like what we actually are. Prehistoric humans living in a sci-fi world. Our biology has not evolved as fast as our technology. We are built to move, to eat real food, and to sleep in sync with the sun. When we sit in ergonomic chairs for 12 hours, staring at glowing rectangles, we are fighting our own DNA. To build the energy required for laser focus, we need to get back to basics. Let us talk about movement. You do not need to train for a triathlon or become a gym rat. The goal here is not six-pack abs. The goal is cognitive function. The book suggests that a simple 20-minute walk or a short workout that gets your heart rate up is enough to reset your energy levels. It is about oxygenating the brain. Think of it as hitting the restart button on your computer when it starts lagging. If you are feeling stuck on a project, do not push harder. Stand up. Walk around the block. The solution to your mental block is usually physical, not mental. Then there is food. The advice in the book is refreshingly simple. Eat real food. Stay away from the processed stuff that comes in crinkly packages. That sugary snack might give you a spike of energy for 20 minutes, but the crash that follows will wipe you out for 2 hours. It is about maintaining a steady, slow-burning fire. not throwing gasoline on a dying ember. Treat your body like a high-end engine. Do not put cheap fuel in it and expect it to win the race. Finally, we have to talk about sleep. In our hustle culture, sleep is often viewed as a weakness, something to be minimized so we can grind harder. This is a lie. Sleep is when your brain cleans itself, consolidating memories and clearing out toxins. If you are sleep deprived, you are functionally drunk. You cannot laser focus when you are drunk. The biggest enemy of sleep in the modern age is, once again, our devices. We bring the sun into our bedrooms. The blue light emitted by our phones mimics daylight, tricking our ancient brains into thinking it is noon when it is actually midnight. This suppresses melatonin, the hormone that tells us it is time to rest. We lie in bed, wired and tired, scrolling through doom and gloom. The authors suggest a fake sunset. Turn down the lights in your apartment an hour before bed. And here is the hard rule. Keep the phone out of the bedroom. Buy an old-school alarm clock. Make your bedroom a sanctuary for rest, not a portal to the internet. If you can disconnect from the digital world an hour before you sleep, you will find that you wake up with a clarity and energy that no amount of espresso can replicate. You are reclaiming your biology from the machine. We have arrived at the final piece of the puzzle. You have learned how to set a highlight to give your day purpose. You have learned how to use laser tactics to fight back against the distraction economy. And you have learned how to energize your biological machine to keep the engine running. But there is one last trap that catches almost everyone. It is the trap of perfectionism. We tend to look at self-improvement as a binary switch. Either you are on the wagon or you are off. You try a new routine for 3 days, you feel great, and then on day 4, life happens. You oversleep, you doom scroll for 2 hours, you eat a greasy burger for lunch, and you miss your highlight. The typical reaction is shame. We tell ourselves, I blew it. I have no discipline. This system does not work. And we quit. We go back to the default setting of chaos. This is where the 4th step of the Make Time framework comes in, and it is the step that makes this system sustainable for the long haul. It is called reflect. Jake and John, being the tech guys they are, encourage us to apply the scientific method to our own lives. In science, there is no such thing as a failed experiment. There is only data. If you mix 2 chemicals and they explode in your face, you do not cry about being a bad chemist. You write down, note to self, do not mix those 2 chemicals again. You tweak the variables and you try again. The reflect step asks you to take just a few minutes at the end of the day, maybe while you are brushing your teeth or right before you turn out the lights to look at the data. It is not about judging yourself. It is about observation. Did you get to your highlight? If yes, what went right? Did you leave your phone in the other room? Did that morning walk give you the energy you needed? If you did not get to your highlight, what went wrong? Did you drink coffee too late in the afternoon and ruin your sleep? Did checking email first thing in the morning derail your focus? You are looking for patterns. Maybe you realize that every time you eat a heavy pasta lunch, you are useless for deep work at 2 p.m. Okay, that is data. Now you can adjust. Tomorrow, you try a salad. Maybe you realize that you cannot resist Instagram if the app is on your home screen. Okay, move it to the last page of a folder. This shift in mindset from judge to scientist is liberating. It removes the emotional weight of failure. You are just testing a prototype of your daily routine. Some days the prototype will break. That is fine. You just iterate. You fix the bug and you run the program again tomorrow. The goal is not to be a perfect robot that never gets distracted. The goal is to slowly, incrementally, Design a lifestyle that actually works for the human being you are, not the one you wish you were. When you combine these 4 elements, highlight, laser, energize, and reflect, you start to see a profound shift in your relationship with time. You stop feeling like a victim of your schedule. You stop feeling like a passive observer in your own life, watching the days blur past from the passenger seat. You take the wheel. And let us be honest about why this matters. It is not just about being more productive at work so you can get a promotion. It is not about squeezing more tasks into your day so you can be the ultimate hustle culture warrior. In fact, it is the opposite. It is about slowing down enough to actually inhabit your life. We live in a world that is obsessed with speed. We want faster internet, faster delivery, faster success. But speed is irrelevant if you are going in the wrong direction. What is the point of racing through your life if you do not remember the view? What is the point of clearing your inbox if you miss your children growing up? What is the point of being efficient if you are empty? The philosophy of make time is a reminder that your attention is your most valuable resource. It is more valuable than money. It is more valuable than status. Because your attention is literally your life experience. What you pay attention to is your reality. If you pay attention to the angry comments on a news article, your reality is anger. If you pay attention to the comparison trap on social media, your reality is inadequacy. But if you pay attention to a creative project, or a conversation with a friend, or the feeling of the sun on your face during a walk, your reality becomes rich and meaningful. You cannot create more time. The 24 hours you get are the same 24 hours that Einstein got, that Beyoncé gets, and that you will get tomorrow. You cannot hoard it, and you cannot save it for later. But you can choose how to fill it. You can choose to fill it with intention, or you can let others fill it for you. So, as we wrap up this campfire conversation, I want you to think about tomorrow. You do not need to overhaul your entire life overnight. You do not need to become a monk or throw your smartphone into the ocean, though. Admittedly, that sounds tempting sometimes. Just start with one thing. Start with the highlight. When you wake up tomorrow morning, before you let the world rush in, before you check the news or your texts, ask yourself that one question. What is the one thing I want to make time for today? It could be big or it could be tiny. It does not matter. Just choose it. Fight for it. And then, at the end of the day, ask yourself how it went. It is a simple practice, but over weeks and months, it compounds. You start to wake up with a sense of agency. You start to go to bed with a sense of satisfaction rather than anxiety. You start to realize that you are not just a cog in a machine, endlessly spinning. You are the architect of your own days. This is your life. It is happening right now, in this moment. The past is a ghost, and the future is a fantasy. All you have is the now, and the ability to choose where to point your laser-focused attention. Do not let the algorithm choose for you. I am curious to know where you are starting. What is the one highlight you have been putting off because you thought you were too busy? Is it painting? Is it calling your parents? Is it finally starting that side business? Drop it in the comments below. Let us hold each other accountable and build a community of people who are reclaiming their time. Thanks for sitting with me tonight. Go make some time.